A year in the life of fallow deer. We bring you chapter 1 of our new series where we join professional deer manager Darren Phiz Phizacklea at the start of the buck season. We have the last in our series with Ben Husthwaite and he is smoking targets. We're giving away 2 lots of competition prizes, the Harkila 2 rucksack and the Percussion clothing. We have news, we have hunting YouTube. Welcome to Fieldsports Britain. It's August and the fallow buck season in England, Scotland and Wales has just opened. It means professional deer manager Darren Phizacklea has a lot on his plate. Phiz looks after the fallow, muntjac and roe on 2 large estates in Sussex, but the vast majority of his time is spent keeping on top of this very recognisable non-native species. It may not come from these shores, but it is embedded in our culture. The now prolific wild fallow population grew as the fashion for deer parks and vast hunting grounds like Ashdown Forest declined many centuries ago. But if home is where the white hart is, then it's here in Sussex and the southeast of the UK. And this is where we start to explore a year in the life of fallow deer. Because of their success, fallow deer have to be controlled. They may be a welcome addition to the countryside, but when you find a herd of them eating your crop, a balance has to be struck. Which is where Phiz comes in. It's a pleasant July evening and we join Phiz with his trusted volunteer stalkers for pre-season barbecue and checks down at the range. The numbers are significant and he can't do it without help.
Well, there's nothing wrong with those.
This is basically our pre-fallow buck season, which opens in a couple of weeks. This is our annual range session. So we've got all the guys here that help us out throughout the season.
You need to put a bullet in it, JR.
A little bit of a jolly, we catch up. Basically, I haven't seen most of these guys since April when the fallow season ended. If any of them are lousy shots, they get turfed out. So. But no, it's all good fun. It's all good fun.
For Phiz to manage such a large area, he needs help. These guys need to prove to him and the estate that they are on the money.
Not just any old meat on that barbecue, is it?
No, we kept a few fallow buck carcasses back, took them to the butcher and he made us a whole load of burgers, which we use through the summer for barbecues and things like this. We'll let you have one, David.
Some of the volunteers aren't content with the homegrown venison burgers, instead opting for wood ants.
Ooh. You try one. They are properly nice, but you've got to bite them before they bite you.
That Rob Gearing gets everywhere. Moving on, and for a new season, Phiz has some new kit. As a Swarovski Sports Optics ambassador, he's been given a Swarovski Z8i 2-16x50 to put on top of his Blaser R8. Plus, he started using a Wildcat round, which, although it's harder to get hold of, he reckons has lots of benefits.
It was designed by David Tubb, who's a long-range American target shooter. But Norma have now started producing factory rounds with a nozzle ballistic tip. So it's 6XC, it's not massively dissimilar to a 243, but it's a shorter, stumpier case. It's a bit more efficient than a 243 with practically the same kind of ballistics. But I just got it 6 months ago, been messing around with it. It's a brilliant calibre, super accurate, very light recoil, great for the deer park and great for all species, but particularly the smaller species. But yeah, so far very impressed with it, David.
The difference between 243 and this is what would you say? So just to sum up,
it's just a shorter case. It uses less powder and gives you the same performance as a 243, And the other advantage is effectively you get better barrel life out the rifle because there's less powder burn going on there. No, good bit of kit.
So good results?
Yeah, not bad at all. Actually, everyone's shot pretty straight today. As you can see, some nice groups there. That's Hugo's. Just past that on the left-hand side, you'll see the seat there.
And it's on the edge of the ride then?
Yeah, it pretty much is touching.
It's now
about
August
5
and
times,
time
3,
to
4,
implement the management plan. Although he will take clients out stalking, his priority is the estate, making sure the Christmas tree plantation and the arable crops are not jeopardised. He spots a herd and sizes up the bucks.
If it goes to plan, if we take him off the left of the group, it could push the rest just a bit further out into the fields, I guess. Just stay on him. The pale one. Yeah. No, hold those. I can see it. Those. There's one central to the group. Yeah, 151 metres that second deer. The first shot was probably about, I don't know, just over 100. Yeah, it's a cracking field this, because you've got a really lovely, nice, safe backstop. Took one out the left of the group, hoping that the rest of them would run further into the middle of the field, which that time it went to plan. It doesn't always work, but that time it went to plan. You see there was 25, 30 deer just in that one group there, and there's a lot of groups like that on the estate. Over the course of the year, those deer are out morning, evening, all night long, grazing on arable crops. Also on this particular estate, we've got a big Christmas tree operation, and they cause a lot of damage. Regeneration also gets hammered by them. There's a set of antlers. This is probably a 2-year-old beast, 2, 3 even. It's difficult to tell when they've got antler as poor as this, but you see they're abnormal in length. There's no real kind of thickness to them, and that really is a perfect animal to take out as far as the buck call's concerned.
What would have stopped you shooting a buck?
This is a numbers game basically here. You know, we're under pressure because of the extensive damage they do. If we had 50 deer, a group of 50 deer on the entire estate, we could be really selective about the management of the bucks and the antler. But really what we're trying to do here is get the numbers down, because there are so many on this estate. There are so many on all the estates that we manage. It's the same principle. So yeah, anything really fantastic, really magnificent, that's what makes you go, wow, we will leave. But anything that doesn't fit that criteria, we will cull. This second buck here is a really good one to take out. It's a pricket. Again, another deer in very good condition. This is a real typical common coloured fallow. The other one back there's paler.
Will you get
coat.
all varieties here?
Yeah, we get basically melanistic, we get common, and we get the white as well. Not so many, but we do get that, and the menal. So we tend to, if anything, leave the white deer alone, just because they act as really useful markers for us. So a bit of cheating. They don't have very many friends, because obvious reasons. But they do. It is very useful actually, especially this time of year in the actual woodlands where we've got masses of bracken. Later on, you'll probably see we get huge areas of bracken and lots of leaf on the tree. The white deer really stand out like a beacon, and generally where there's one, there'll be a few more.
Bummer of a birth after that.
You could say that, yeah. This area will have been cleared now. This more open area, so basically we're just going to drop back into the woodland. We'll give it a good sort of half an hour, 45-minute walk in a loop back round to the vehicle, then we'll come and pick up these 2 bucks, get them back into the larder before what we don't want to do is leave them out here when the sun's come up and they'll start getting warm and they'll blow up. So we want to scoop them up as soon as we can, but we're still before the sun is actually up and shining on them. We've got a half an hour or so, so we might as well make some use of that.
As well as being passionate about deer, Phiz is also a full-on foodie, and at this time of year he loves a bit of fungi foraging.
Antonio Calucci refers to mushroom picking as the silent hunt, which I think is a really nice term. You know, there's no bangs necessary or whipping of fly rods or any of that stuff. It's just a nice gentle walk through the woods or fields. And it's a nice thing to do because it coincides with the start of the fallow season. We do a bit of roe buck stalking over the summer months, but not an awful lot because this is predominantly fallow deer around here. It's very fallow heavy. So in terms of deer stalking, the summer months are pretty quiet and, you know, reserved for other jobs, maintenance and other things like that. So yeah, all this time of year as the fallow get into gear, we sort of see this kind of thing happening, and all a good little indicator that, you know, for me, that the season's begun and that we've got 9 months of hard work ahead of us. There's 15 fallow buck in that one group. And there was one of them just decided to turn back and come left-handed, and just managed to step in with one little gap in there and whistled him, and he just stopped for a split second. So looked like a solid shot, but we'll go in and have a look now. Let's see where. Not a great head. Really good condition beast though, it's in fantastic condition. Third one for the morning, pretty successful outing so far. We've just bled that deer out now, and I think what we'll do is we'll just wander back nice and steady to the car and get them all picked up and into the larder. All right, out, come on, down, get down. Generally Phil, when we're actually out and about in the woods, I will have it on sort of 6 or 7 power. But as you saw this morning, when we had a group of deer, we shot one just over 100 metres, and the rest ran further out into the middle of the field where there was 150 odd metres. At that point I was trying to pick up a buck in a group which was predominantly does, so just straight up to 16. It just gives you that extra bit of magnification. So yeah, really versatile, and if you're in a high seat or even if you're in really thick woodland, you can get this right down to 2.
So you just told me what actually sold you on Swarovski. It was by accident, wasn't it? Literally.
It was by accident. Yeah, we're trying a Swarovski scope out on the rifle, and I went down a little bit of a hill and went to clear a little drainage ditch, like a complete numpty. I caught my toe of my boot in a root and went completely head over heels and smacked the deck with a big old thwack and whacked the rifle. And I thought, well, there's no way that thing's still going to be holding 0. So I took it down the range. The first shot was absolutely bang on. I thought, well, there you go. Amazing optics, and it can take a hell of a knock. Obviously that's not a license to knock your gun and not go and check the 0. I'm not saying that, but yeah, I was very impressed actually. I'm really happy with it. I mean, for me, there's not much point looking at anything else. It does exactly what we need it to.
Next stop is the larder, and for Phiz it's the most dangerous part of the job. So much concentration goes into the hunt that here is where you can sometimes let your guard down.
Your soapstones, exactly.
Wore them out. Great bit of kit for gralloching. This is called a tripe knife. So basically this got a rounded edge, which means that when you're opening to gralloch it, basically you don't puncture the gut effectively. You just keep the ball like that. Put him in at 43. That's a good weight for a fallow. That would be a sorrel. I mean, we get them much bigger. We had one last week which was 68 kilos, which is pretty massive for a fallow. But yeah, that's a good weight this time of year. And then we'll sort of straight in, then we'll tag them up straight into the chiller room. So yeah, we'll just tag these all up now and they're ready for either us to process or to send off to the game dealer.
It's only recently that Phiz has decided to market his own venison products, and Park Grove venison and charcuterie is hitting the shelves.
Okay, so this is where we keep a supply of some of our sausages that we're experimenting with different flavours, mixes, spices, etc. We've got some nice smoked chilli and paprika ones there, which you're going to have to try those, David. It's a hard job, but someone's got to do it, David. The life of a Fieldsports cameraman, eh?
It's the end of a busy morning. 3 fallow deer are shot and processed. It's wild food prepared to the highest standards, and that's just what Phiz wants: a sustainable resource in balance with farming, forestry and the local community. Thank you, Phiz, and thank you to Swarovski for supporting this project. Now, as long as he's had his fill of free venison sausages, you will find David stuffed and seasoned, and on the Fieldsports channel, News Stump.
This is Fieldsports Channel News. Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn has revealed he's not keen on grouse shooting. He made the comment in light of next year's renewal of Bradford Council's contract for grouse shooting on council-owned Ilkley Moor, which BBC presenter Chris Packham wanted to see ended. The Ilkley Gazette asked Mr Corbyn whether the Labour-led authority should end the arrangement. He told the reporter that he has never been grouse shooting. The National Trust vote to ban trail hunting on its land shows that people don't give a monkeys. Just 2% of the membership bothered to vote. 1% in favour of banning it, 1% against. The trail hunters won by 299 votes. The Countryside Alliance pointed out what a waste of Trust's money the vote has been. Holt's Auctioneers commissioned a painting of a very well-known dog for its August charity shoot. Angus de War has released a YouTube film of his work, Sandringham, Sydney, probably the Queen's most famous Labrador. The shoot was held in aid of the Gamekeepers Welfare Trust. The British government is planning another gun ban. It's outraged target shooters by releasing a consultation paper on banning .50 caliber rifles. Despite the extensive background checks required to become a firearms licence holder in the UK, it believes that a ban on the rifles will stop them being used in criminal and terrorist activities. There are 64 of these rifles owned by private individuals in the UK. Our first ever sponsor is opening a shooting clothing shop. Sporting Threads is opening a new shop outside Taunton in Somerset, cleverly located on the road up to the Exmoor shoots.
The classic person that comes in here is going to be possibly on their way to Exmoor, but really we've got something in here for everyone, every type of shooter.
We wish Dan all the best with his shop. The state government of Texas remains an example to us all. It has released a 2017 bird hunting forecast via Texas Parks and Wildlife. According to the film on YouTube, it's a season of plenty for upland bird hunters this year, thanks to lots of rain and a mild summer. It adds that hunting in Texas is big business. Top prize in the 2017 Wildlife Photographer of the Year award has gone to an image that highlights the evils of poaching. Run by the UK's Natural History Museum, South African Brent Sturton won the grand prize for his picture showing the illegal rhino horn trade. Other winners include a picture of a gorilla by young photographer Daniel Nelson, an octopus catching a crab off Australia by Justin Gilligan, and an Arctic fox by Ashley Scully. And finally, stag selfies seem to be the new craze amongst walkers as they wander through urban and suburban parks that contain deer. This man poses in front of a fallow deer at London's Richmond Park to get a good picture for Instagram. Others have been condemned for doing the same with red stags at Woollerton Park in Nottinghamshire. A Londoner called Ian Lee shot this footage moments before the stag charged and gored her in Richmond Park. She was injured in the shoulder, the thigh and the bladder. You are now up to date with Fieldsports Channel News. Stuck in the stories, fishing for facts.
Thank you, David. Well, it is the second of our Harkila rucksack competitions, and I have, in my usual techie way, put all of your entries into my phone in a spreadsheet, and I'm going to scroll down like that and scroll up and scroll down and choose a winner completely at random like this. And the winner is, we have a winner. It is Red Eye Fox 05 who entered on YouTube, and he correctly said Harkila rucksack to be rude not to. Well, Red Eye Fox, a Harkila rucksack's going out to you as soon as you send us your address. Next up, it's the last in our series of smoking targets with Ben Husthwaite and Game Boar.
Yeah. So again, what we're working on, if you imagine when we shot the driven target earlier, I was asking Nikki to let that target beat the gun. It's the same thing here. She's going to hold on a halfway hold point, but she's going to let the clay beat the gun. So now there's going to be a void here. So the swing through method is going to be used. Then Nikki's going to put the power down, close that negative space, and she'll either shoot at it or positive space depending on distance and speed of this bird. So you'll see once more when she calls pull, there's quite a pause before the gun starts to move. And again, Nikki.
Hop.
Beautiful move.
Hop.
Let it through. Superb. Excellent. Pull. Pull. So what we're going to look for on here, you'll notice with Nikki as well, she had quite a high gun hold. You even picked up on it yourself. The problem being here is if we do look out towards where it's coming from, we've got a big green bank here, probably, you know, a good 10, 15 meters high, and a black clay. So your actual viewpoint isn't where the trap is. It's where you first see the clay, which is where it breaks the clouds here. So my visual pickup point is there, my kill point is here, so halfway is between those two is going to be my hold point. That puts us quite high, but the rules still apply, so it's still going to be relative to what we're going to do. At that hold point there, my eyes are going to be lower than the gun, so I see this clay target appear under the barrel. It's then going to beat the gun, it's going to come on top of my gun, and then from there I'm going to close the negative lead down and take the shot. See what that looks like. Halfway hold points here, eyes down. Pull. Pull. What you would have seen on the shot cam there is that, you know, the red X that we're looking for, the clay will break through that. It will get above the gun by a couple of meters, maybe 1.5 meters before my left hand starts to work the gun. The negative lead closes down. I catch up to it, and then I see the specific visual lead that we spoke about earlier. Just try a couple more. Pull. Pull. Things to look out for on this target. Again, if it was orange, my hold point would be different. I'd see that bird quicker, so my hold point would be lower, making the same move. Don't be afraid. Say, when you do get these targets, make sure you do pick up where you see it first. And again, it's a vertical teal. The clue's in the name, it's vertical, so it will be slowing down greater than anything else. If we start to go too fast, we're going to end up on top of it. All things to plan while you're outside the cage.
Are you looking for it to actually hit that peak? Are you wanting it?
No. If I'm shooting a reverse teal, where the teal is coming towards me, I will take that shot at the top when I can see the belly of it. On a going away teal, you know, the latest I really want to get there is 3/4 of the way up its flight. That will be where I see it the clearest as well. But what I don't want to do is have the variable where it's going to change in the wind. I want a constant line, constant speed, where that bird's going to want the same lead every time. Certainly want the clay moving when I take the shot.
Now it is the second of our super competition giveaways, and it's for a percussion suit. Lots of you entered on Facebook and YouTube. Percussion, of course, the clothing that David wears on the Fieldsports channel, new Stump. So if you win, you'll look a bit like David. Lucky you. Right, scrolling up and down, you know the drill. Here we go. And tap on a winner. And the winner is Gary Cluner. Gary Cluner, who entered on YouTube with the word percussions. Thumb, 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 thumb. Well done, Gary Cluner. You can see that. Now, from looking good on the shooting field to the wider world of hunting and shooting on YouTube, it is Hunting YouTube. This is Hunting YouTube, which aims to show the best hunting and shooting videos that YouTube has to offer. We are long on dog work this week. Here is partridge shooting over HPRs, a series of good points, flushes and retrieves. McHugh's CB has a Blaser BBF97 and Aimpoint H1 Micro. Out after driven fox and rabbit in the Australian state of Victoria. He is flushing the quarry with Dachshunds. Potterick 81 hunting is moose hunting with dogs in Finland. They get the moose cornered after a tricky stalk. The shooter misses cleanly, then knocks it over with the second shot. Beautiful photography and a popular guy. Matt Dubber is out after a problem Impala ram in South Africa with a 260 Remington in this film. In the USA, it is the opening day of the early season muzzle loading season in Pennsylvania. Leatherwood Outdoors wife Danielle is going for a doe at 50 yards with flintlock musket. It takes 4 days for her to get her chance. Pig hunting remains a popular subject for a YouTube film. This one takes you to western New South Wales with Hunting with Stu. It's a good mixture of how he reloads the cartridge and then what he does with it. As he says, 100 rounds should equal 100 pigs. In Russia, there is a lot of waiting around before DSS hunting spots pigs in darkness through the thermal. They also shoot fox and raccoon dog. And finally, falconry near Edinburgh is a hunt mainly in audio as the hawk comes down hard on a rabbit, even though first thing you hear is a pheasant, but you get a strong sense of the excitement. That's it for this week. I've put all these films into a playlist for you. Click on the I symbol top right or check this film's description. If you have a YouTube film you would like us to pop into the weekly top 8, email me the link, charlie@fieldsportschannel.tv. Well, that's it for this week. If you haven't done so already, please pop over to our website, fieldsportschannel.tv. You can click to like us on Facebook, you can follow us on Twitter, you can subscribe to us on Facebook, or some combination of all those. Or best of all, you can pop your email address into our constant contact box on our register page and we'll contact you about our show. Fieldsports Britain, it's at 7 PM UK time every Wednesday. And this has been Fieldsports Britain. Good hunting, good shooting, good fishing, and goodbye.